Hello. This is Rock Bottom Cartel's very first Side Hustled episode. Side Hustled is a series where I will be sitting down with artists, friends, and anybody else in the industry, whether that's the music industry or film industry, anything else that is either entrepreneurial or creative. And my hope is to have discussions regarding the duality of being a creative 24/7 while also having to keep a 9 to 5 or side hustle of some sort to be able to pay the bills. So I'm really excited for this to begin. I've been planning on doing this for a very long time, and I'm super happy. The very first episode, which is the one that you are listening to right now, is with my good friend Nick, also known as Grandpaw, in the music scene. He plays for, I believe, 7 or 8 bands, and also works. So I'm excited to share this with you all, and hopefully you find something of value. I have a crazy piece of hair sticking up on the back of my head throughout the entire thing. So try not to judge too hard on that, and if possible, just listen to the audio and not watch the video. Here it is. Dude, I just bought this this iPad. It's very convenient.
What generation is that? It's the 10th?
9.
Oh, shit.
The 10th one was way too expensive. So I went with the 9th. Funny story. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. You were telling a funny story.
It's I don't know how funny it is. But I bought the case and the screen protector before I bought the iPad. Did you know that already?
No. I was shaking my head because I know that's like a common mistake.
Well, no. I'm talking about like 2 months of a difference.
Yeah.
Just because I was confident enough that I was going to buy it, but I couldn't get myself to commit to buying it. So
Okay.
I was like, let me start small.
Yeah.
Let me buy the screen protector and the case, and then eventually it worked out.
Yeah, it just materialized in there.
Mm-hmm. It just came out.
Yeah, it's just like that's how you grow an iPad.
It's like a seed. Sweet. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is a first for me.
Likewise.
But I'm super pumped to try this out, see how it goes. Hopefully we get I don't know, this rolling.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. This should be pretty fun the way I'm thinking about it. So I'm hoping that it goes on from there. But let's start with the basics. Okay. You, Nick.
That's me.
You go by Grandpaw.
Yes.
Musically.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you are in, I counted, total 7 bands, including yours. And I'm going to tell you why, because I think you missed one when you sent me the list. And by bands, I mean bands and artists.
Okay, yeah.
So you have They Don't Deserve to Know.
Mm-hmm.
You have TV Wonder.
Yes.
E.G.
Mm-hmm.
There's Alexi 8-Bit. Wes Denzel. You Play Music With Me.
Yep.
And then your solo project. That's 7.
That's true. Yeah, I can't count, I guess. I don't usually count my solo project just because I haven't done anything on it for a while. But yeah, that sounds right.
But it still takes up real estate in your brain.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about because it is a lot to think about. It is a lot of music to learn.
Yeah.
And the thing is with, for example, with somebody like me, I am naturally super picky about how everything sounds. You are a really good musician, and I have to think that you hold yourself to a similar standard because I've seen you play live and I've seen you play with me, and you're spot on. How do you manage, I don't know, expectations when you have so many projects to deliver for, I guess?
Well, first off, I think I started managing it by actually scheduling things. When I was in like 2 to 3 bands, it wasn't so bad to just kind of have a completely open schedule. But then I really had to be like, okay, I'm gonna maybe not be able to do this show or not be able to play with this artist. But I think if we're talking managing expectations with like the quality of music that I provide, like I'm very upfront and honest. Like I'm pretty sure I told you at one of our first practices, like I was like, I know these songs, but I didn't hear myself at all. So I'm like, I don't want to set an expectation that I'm going to be like not great. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just I think I know my limits at this point, and I'm just trying not to push myself to that limit,
Sure.
and burn out.
And so I wanted to ask because it's hard for myself doing my solo stuff and then Bloody Bear with my brother, and now this that I'm trying to do, and this is I don't have a what is it they call dude when they're like basically mixing the video live, that has a word.
A mixer?
Yeah,
but do they have like a video mixer?
Yeah, but it's not a mixer. It's maybe it is. It's just basically you're doing the cuts. There's a word for that. And I can't remember. But I know, I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different cameras. I think they all shoot in a different format too. I'm going to have to figure out time to do that, right?
Yeah.
To edit that, put the audio together. I already told you the audio was coming out kind of funky, so I'm going to have to figure out how to split that. I am in a relationship that takes time, so I am having to figure out exactly, all right, what days I am just going to work, what days I'm going to half work, half chill, you know what I mean, and watch some TV, and what other days I will not work at all.
Yeah.
And just focus on that. Then on top of that, you work full time. And so I have to imagine it gets crazy up in there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. That's really where that scheduling came into play, because that was something I was so afraid of doing, just because it felt like when I was scheduling things, I was taking away my ability to be free. And then I kind of found out it's a little bit the inverse, It's nice to know when things are going to happen, which was just like a huge portion of my life was like, I don't know what's going to happen today, but that's how I liked it. But I don't know, there's space for everything. And then things will ease up at some point, and you'll have more time to like do the things that you really wanted to do, or, yes, I don't know. Scheduling kind of like saved my life on that regard, I guess.
Where did you pick that up from?
Really just necessity.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have to really credit Jarrett from They Don't Deserve to Know, because he's really organized and he does like music for a living.
Full
and
time?
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like a music teacher and stuff.
Awesome.
And then he also does dueling pianos, plays drums, and so they're like doing that for like 3 hours out in some like fancy town. But he was the first band that like would send me a schedule and be like, hey, I want to do practice this day, this day, this day. And I'm like, okay. And so I just accepted his invites, and I'm like, oh shit, I have stuff on my schedule now. And then I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. I like would forget practices and shows a lot. I'm sorry, Alexi. And so I ended up starting to proactively do that because I'm like, okay, I don't want to let any of these people down, especially that have more people to handle, sure. I guess.
Yeah. And so kind of a segue with, planning and things like that. Did you, I don't know, was music something that you were always, that was in the horizon of things that you knew you were going to do, I guess, high school and at that point where you're kind of having to start making a decision of what you want to be doing? Because for me, I had an idea, I think subconsciously, but there was never a blueprint for it. I mean, there was never a plan of, okay, I'm going to go to college. That's where I'm going to meet musicians. I'm going to get in a band, and I'm going to be rich and famous. It just, I don't think I ever thought about it that way until I actually started making music.
Yeah.
And it gets exciting and cool to do all of that. But it just wasn't, I don't know. It's just, it was cool, but it didn't seem like a career. There was no data to back like a dream like that. How was it for you?
For me, I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to do this up until high school. And then my parents moved overseas, and I went to college in Texas State. So once I got there, I kind of stopped playing guitar for like a good year.
You stopped?
Yeah, I like barely played. And the reason for that was because in high school, I needed a prerequisite to do music in college. And so I was going to take this course, and it was like some music theory course on my senior year. And then I guess we like defunded the arts a little bit in Texas at that time. So then that got like removed. So I went into college hoping to still be able to do music, and I didn't have any prereqs at the time.
But then, by the way, all of a sudden they defund that, but the football team has New Jerseys that year or something.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the soccer team got New Jerseys too, and I was on that.
Well, I guess.
But
you benefited.
Like
degree.
My school built this like giant football stadium, like right across the street, which I guess is an investment for their own revenue, but I don't know if it was so much the school as it was the state itself,
Sure.
But regardless, I went into college. I was like, okay, I'll still see if I can like apply to a music course. And they were like, no, you don't have any prerequisites. And I'm like,
what does that mean?
I'm like, y'all won't teach me how to do music in college? Like, isn't that why people go to colleges, to learn how to do that thing?
The irony. Like, you needed experience.
Right.
To get into college. And then you get out of college and you need experience there too.
Yeah. No. You need like
crazy.
3 years of experience to do this entry-level job. No. So yeah, I kind of quit playing music for a while after that, because I'm like,
sure.
Okay, well, my only plan that I had was like to learn how to be a musician or a music teacher. And then
so your direction was more professional.
Yeah.
So you could say there was an element of, for lack of a better term again, a blueprint for what you had envisioned you wanted to do within the music industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants to fuel their ego and be like a performer,
Sure.
And
me.
Yeah, no, same. Still, even now, like,
all the time.
There's a reason I don't stop building my craft, but I also understand that that's like super rare no matter how good you are. And so I was just like, already knew that guitar was going to be a part of my life because I took so much time to learn it.
Yeah.
And I play a guitar almost every day. I love the instrument, and it's just like a part of who I am now.
Sure.
Which is probably annoying for a lot of people if they just see that that's all I do ever. I only ever post like me playing guitar, and that's fine. But yeah,
That's me ever since I got this iPad. All I do is just be on the iPad.
Yeah, it's like, guys, he grew an iPad.
That's so
but
cool.
yeah, and then that's what I thought the course was. That got derailed. I quit college because my counselor was like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Great
and
question.
I did not play any live music for like another 4 years.
Did you ever go back to school?
I tried, and I failed miserably. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to go back to ACC because I think by the time I stopped going, my GPA was less than 1. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad.
It's like, dude, you just needed a 1.
I just stopped going. I like my purpose for going to school. The only thing that I had a drive to do,
Sure.
like it was, I don't want to say stripped away because I maybe could have found another way to do a prerequisite, but I was just like, okay, I guess this isn't for me, and I just started working instead.
So what did you? I guess as that's happening, me, right, the way I was raised, I had no choice but to shit my pants because it just
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
no, literally, dude, shit my pants. No, so the idea of going to college, right?
Yeah.
Was something that it just was not an alternative, right, in my home. For example, the same way that you go from 5th grade to 6th grade, it just happens. You know what I mean? You're like, that's what you do. You know what I mean? It's, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
Work? I'm a
yeah,
kid. You
come
know.
on.
So it was that same. I don't know. My brain was wired the same way. To you go from here, senior. Okay, now you go to college, and you do 4 years there, and then after that, then it was all hazy, right? I don't know who the fuck knows what happens. But up until that point, it was just a series of steps. Had that been taken away from me, or even myself, right? I wouldn't know where to turn. You were telling me earlier how you come from a family where your dad's, it seems like very calculated, and he means business.
Yeah.
Was that pressure there, or the expectation anyway?
No, because neither of my parents actually graduated college. They both went, but neither of them got their degrees. And I think that they would have liked for me to get mine or my sister, mainly because they're paying for it.
Sure.
I decided to go to school because I was too afraid to like move with them to China, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go there and then also learn a new language and go to a school over there. I'm like, that sounds way harder. Let me go to Texas State.
Starting college as it is
Yeah.
a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way it was gonna be hard because I was either gonna not have as much support, like family wise, being so far away from them, or I was gonna have to try to learn a new language, one of the hardest ones as far as I'm aware, and then also go to school when I was like not particularly passionate about it. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have to go to school in China, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, there wasn't like the pressure on me to like be a college student. It was just something that I thought would help me, like, guide me to my future.
And how, I think, again, I just try to relate to myself as the only thing I can do, but I think being in that position, because I did also consider while I was in college, this is kind of, dude, like, this is just so difficult for what I really want to be doing. I was attempting to major in computer engineering.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where it was just getting so difficult that I considered, what if I just quit? What happens then? Oh man, I can just fully focus on music from now on and do that, which seemed, it was very, it was very unrealistic of me, right? Because at that point you don't really have any responsibilities or anything, so you're just thinking like, dude, it's just gonna be, instead of doing school, I'm just gonna be doing music.
Yeah.
Did you have, I guess, that switched being like, okay, now it's where I make it because it's the only thing I'm gonna be doing.
No, because I've never done music without having a full-time job, so it's just like I didn't have that kind of break to just kind of be like, yeah, I'm gonna do music, you know. And also, the only break I would have had to do that would have been in college or when I was like 19, 20, and I just like not only kind of sucked the beat, you know, the beats you make when you first like get Logic or GarageBand, man, and you think it's so fire. I think honestly I'm glad I didn't have that kind of drive because I would have been putting out some really shit music. But yeah. So it all kind of started for me whenever an old high school buddy that had tried to do music with me and my best friend before, he was like, okay, I finally found like a bassist. Let's try to do this band. Yeah. And then like COVID hit, so yeah, we had some time to practice and get a little good before our first show, I guess.
Dude, I mean, I'm sure I'm beating a dead horse, but fuck COVID.
Yeah, for real. R.I.P.
When I was gigging in college and I was about to, it's that period where I was about to graduate, we were doing pretty well. I say pretty well within what my expectations were and what I thought was even possible to do. But I mean, we were playing Mohawk while living in College Station. Like, I've been living in Austin.
That's crazy, yeah.
Dude, I've been living in Austin for a year now, and I still haven't played Mohawk.
Yeah.
And so, living in College Station, we played Mohawk like 3 times. We played White Oak in Houston.
Yeah.
We were playing in Denton at these little like houses that were throwing shows and stuff.
Yeah, momentum.
Yes, and then it just stopped.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, what do you do? Then at that point, I joined the other band that I was in, Better Strangers, out of Florida. And this is a good segue for something that I wanted to ask, because we spent a lot of time without playing music. It was just a lot of writing.
Yeah.
But eventually we did start playing music. And like every band, every project that you do, there are really shitty gigs that you do.
Yeah.
I think that when I hear, for example, I hear like comedians and like musicians talk about the come up, and it is literally a rite of passage. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest artist in the world. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened to you. Do you have any
like
shitty gig stories?
Yeah.
For playing in 7 bands.
Yeah, there's a mysterious 8th one that was before, and I don't play in that band anymore.
Okay.
I was actually wearing their shirt yesterday. R.I.P. Primo. That's actually kind of goes both ways, and I'm sorry.
Sounds
that was
familiar.
supposed to be a joke, but like it was, yeah, that high school, the guy from high school that I was telling you about, that my first band that we like really played a show with was called Primo. And so we did this show. We were so excited. Like, it was supposed to be at Spider House, and we thought we had the ballroom, so we were gonna be indoors like jamming and stuff, and then they put us outside instead. And
is that the one with the?
It's like this like weird like hangar looking.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of
in the back, and then right across it has there's like a shed.
Yeah, and there's a couple of bars like outside or something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, nice space.
Yeah.
And we thought we were gonna be like the headliners, and not that like being a headliner in Austin is all that important, but for us this particular time it was, because the lead singer's father-in-law used to be like run like lights and stuff, and so he was like, yeah, we're gonna bring this like big ol' lights set up, and like, we're gonna have it sync to the music and stuff. And yeah, it was a nightmare. Like this is our first time trying to do a show with like a click track, and I was like, I was very much against doing a click track, but we ended up doing it anyways. And of course, for like the first 3 songs, like or whatever, the audience could hear it, and it was just a hot mess, dude. I there must be photos of me on the stage looking like visibly annoyed. I was like pissed off while playing music.
It's like the worst name.
Dude, yeah, it sucked. And like the worst thing was we got those lights out there. No one could see them synced up because it was still bright outside. So there's just these things like fucking spinning around, like, and then we didn't need the click track at that point, which I already didn't want to do. And then, so it was just a nightmare.
Were there people there?
Yeah.
A shit ton of people?
Not like a lot, but, I would say enough, when people like come to see your group in particular, it was kind of like that. And then we did so terribly.
Dude.
Yeah.
That sucks. And I'm sorry, but hey, you just got to go through it.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
I understand putting on a show, but also, my personal style is being very simplistic.
Yeah.
And so, you usually try to find a blend with like whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
And at that time, it just...
Dude, I hate click tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played with them. I think the reason why I hate them is because I'm afraid of them. Maybe I could learn to love them, but I love when everything just flows. I mean, it's so nice to be able to just extend shit whenever you gotta extend it, or sometimes I forget that I gotta come in on vocals, and it's nice that everybody's just like, keep it going. It's not a big deal. But then that happens with a click track, and you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, you are. But what I discovered, mentioning Jared again from They Don't Deserve to Know, who was the drummer for Alexi 8-Bit.
Shout out Jared.
Yeah, Jared's cool. He used a click track with Alexi, and I think this worked out really well for us as a group. One, because he's a super, like, I was going to say competent drummer, but he's like really just excellent. And also he was the only one that can hear the click track. So it's only really important for the drummer,
Sure.
And, we have like the music synced up to it and everything. So it gives us cues, but I feel like it really is only important for the drummer to keep the time, and everyone, that's their job anyways.
Yeah. And talk about pressure.
Yeah.
So they fuck up the click track, then it's on them.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is hearing it.
Yeah, I would hate to run a hard pass.
So I had a pretty shitty gig story.
Yeah.
We were playing the show, and this was with Better Strangers, and it was in Jacksonville. And there was this. They're a big band in the area and in general. They're called Phase Wave, and we were set up to play with them, and they were gonna headline. And there was we were set to headline.
Okay.
Because technically, it was our run of shows, so I think our booking agent at the time sort of pushed for that to be the case. No, let them headline since it's their run of shows. We had a banner and everything. Yeah. But Phase Wave, they're a big band. They had a shit ton. Literally, the club sold out. Okay?
Yeah.
And we knew coming into it, this is not for us. Because it's just, you just know. And honestly, I can't remember if it sold out. It looked like it. Let me just say that. Just in case
it was packed.
It was so fucking packed. And so I tried to make it a point to say, you know what, let's just put ourselves in the middle of the bill, have them close out the show. That way, you know, we can get some of the people there.
Yeah.
It was just too late at that point. We had already set it up that way, and so we ended up closing the gig. Dude, they fucking murdered. Like, it went so well for them. And then we started playing, and, you know, people, it was like on a Wednesday or some shit, so people are trickling out. But it was, I mean, the room was still kind of like half full at that point. And we do a cover, which you would think this is, everybody's going to know. We did Moon Age Daydream, Bowie.
I'm going to shake my head, yes. I don't know that song, but...
I'm an alligator. No? Okay, well...
Is that like the most popular lyric?
You were part of the problem.
Okay.
You were there and you left.
Yeah.
So we started playing the song. And mid-song, dude, it just emptied out. And we, like, it... I've never seen a more clear display of you fucking suck other than that moment.
That hurts.
Dude, it was just immediate. Like, we were just going, and fucking a minute into the song, everybody at the same time were just like, dude, fuck this.
Yeah.
Left. And so the only people that were left were the Phase Wave guys, which props to them, and their girlfriends. And they were just looking at us like, doing this whole thing right here. You guys are...
Yeah.
I just want to be like, shut the fuck up. Like, thank you, but god damn it. So yeah, that sucked.
Honestly, I hate to say this, but kind of props to the crowd for being real, though.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I think everyone does it where, you know, you might not be enjoying this artist, but you feel bad leaving.
Dude, that's the thing. Like, I like to sit here and say I would have done the same thing, but I can't. If there's 10 people in the room and I'm one of them, I am in jail. Like,
it's so obvious.
Like I have to stay there. Yeah. Unless they're like, I declare very loudly that, like, I don't know, dude, like an emergency happened. I don't mean to say this again because it doesn't, but like, I shit my pants. Yeah. I need to leave. This is the second time I mentioned that.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Right. But, okay. Yeah.
I promise. But,
I believe it.
Yeah, like I couldn't see myself doing it because of the embarrassment. Like, there's a connection. Once you're just standing there and you are just the one person staring at them, the eye contact is so heavy that you can't. Like, you gotta wait for them to do this move to where, like, the song ends and they're like, thank you, and they turn around to speak to the drummer, and then you're like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here right now.
Yeah, you know, I think it's particularly nice if you have other people that you know in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna leave, and then you leave them to be like in that situation. I do that quite a bit because I'm like, well, one, I live in Round Rock, so I want to go home.
Sure.
But also, yeah, I don't want to be like the last person standing, and then, you know, it just feels like you're looking them right in their eyes and going like, I'm just walking out, dude.
or just if you have a group of people, then you can always blame it on the group of people. Like, dude, you guys want to stay? Like,
you guys don't fuck with this? Dude. No. Oh, man, I guess we all have to leave together. Shit. And that's what they, damn.
I mean, they're playing here literally on Saturday.
Phase Wave?
No.
Oh, okay.
I tried to land a joke.
Oh, my bad.
It didn't work.
It probably landed for anyone that gets to listen to this. My brain was elsewhere.
Like, what the fuck is he
my
talking
bad.
about?
Yeah,
I was making a joke because local bands tend to play the same spots. Every fucking week, all the time. Except me.
Yeah. Well, also me.
I can't get a fucking gig.
I feel like that's
my life, dude.
Maybe that's why I didn't land, because I'm like, I don't know what that life is like.
Yeah. It's like gigs. All the time?
Yeah. So, yeah, sure.
Shit, man. Well, let's see. What else can we talk about? Because I've got notes.
Yeah.
I've got
let's
notes.
Look at the notes.
On music, right?
Okay.
You put 2 songs out this year,
Yes.
and I wonder, why did you wait so long?
I kind of just didn't really have the drive, and I feel like SoundCloud is good for a reason because you can kind of just throw ideas on there. But once you have to like pay to put music out, it feels like you should probably do a pretty good job. Which, to be fair, I was just kind of at the point where I was like, freak it. I'm going to put the songs out, even if I don't think that they're all that good. And now they're there. And I don't like the mixes on them or the mastering.
Well, that's I don't mean to cut you off,
Yeah.
but that's on my notes.
Yeah.
And going against what you're saying, because of the fact that I really did like the mixes, and I was wondering, did you do that yourself or did somebody else did it?
Yeah, I did most of the mixing. I
really
didn't
good.
have anyone else touch the projects. I feel like uploading them, no matter what I do, it's always too quiet.
Big note: who mixed? Question mark? Question mark?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
I thought it was really good, dude. Especially on Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
There's these horns. Are those samples, or did you have somebody actually play them?
Those are samples. And actually, this is a song that I've had like a bit of trouble like coming to certain terms with up until recently. I have to give a little backstory, and I apologize for this. Sabrina Carpenter put out a song recently.
Okay.
Where essentially she took, do you know Splice? Like you can grab music samples that people put out there, and you kind of essentially pay for them.
I think so.
And so you can grab those, drag them into your
like a library.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Sure.
And so she basically, or her producer or whatever, basically took someone else's like samples entirely. I don't know how much they really edited them. Apparently not that much, and then just had her sing over it, and then released like a #1 single. That's not exactly what I did. I did take some samples from Splice, put them on that song, move them around a little bit.
It's the exact same thing except for the #1 single part.
yeah, basically. Yeah, no. I was so close.
I did the exact same thing.
And dude, yeah, I did it before Sabrina Carpenter. And yeah, and she's living the life I should be living
Same samples
now.
too.
Dude. Yeah, so yeah, I don't, doing it and not kind of doing your own twist on it feels directly like stealing, which is and it's always like a weird topic for me because they put them out there for people to use them.
Mm-hmm. And
once you buy the sample, you have full rights to it as far as I'm aware. So you don't have to tweak it, It's just like I chose to tweak mine a little bit, and then I played guitar over it. Did a little solo and all that stuff and sang, but
I mean, you upload it as the person making the sample. Yeah,
no, it's just like a weird balance because I'm like I do know someone who plays horns, but this song is already made, and why would I replace what they already have on there?
Yeah.
Unless I wanted like a harmony. But if I wanted a harmony, I could just edit the sample,
On harmonies, is it that same song that has some harmonies? Yes.
Yeah,
I have notes. Did you? Is there a girl singing harmonies?
There is a girl at some point. That song was kind of like saying goodbye to a partner of mine in a way. And so I was like, I'm just going to have a girl sing the same lines, but just kind of like differ a couple words.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but yeah. That did happen.
Nice.
Yeah. I would have mentioned their name, but we aren't. Well, they're not quite cool. My girlfriend. Cut that out. 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 If they see that, I would be surprised. But anyways,
dude, this is the #1 podcast in the world. What do you mean? If they see this, you'd be surprised, dude.
Yeah, we're Sabrina Carpenter.
This
when we need her.
This went #1, just like Sabrina did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a girl singing on there. Just to add the little effect or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we can flip the page on that one.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for liking the mix, though.
Yeah, I thought it was. Really
I did
good.
work hard on the vocals.
His 2 songs that are out right now, Oceanside and May.
With you.
Random question.
What's up?
I was watching a podcast, ironically, earlier today, and they were talking about gigs.
Yeah.
For comedians, corporate gigs specifically. Jesus Christ.
Bless you.
It's that Lone Star.
Yeah.
So they were talking about corporate gigs. And then yesterday I was hearing another podcast, different comedians from Puerto Rico, and they were talking about also corporate gigs.
Okay.
And it seems like corporations in America hire the same way they hire like motivational speakers and shit. They'll do like events and they'll hire comedians.
Okay.
And they'll do that. Apparently those gigs suck ass, especially if they don't have a lot of people, which makes sense. People are uptight. They're around their bosses.
Yeah.
People they don't know. But I was trying to think about what the equivalent would be of a corporate gig for a musician. And I think it's like tiki bar gigs.
Well, odd that you say that. I've seen a corporate gig for a musician before.
Uh-huh.
And it was I think it was during South by Southwest. And I went to like this Dell Technologies thing. This dude was fucking shredding so hard. Like, he was a one-man show, purple suit, like obviously an outstanding character and musician. Like, I want to say he had like 2 or 3 sets of keys, a DJ thing, a guitar, like a bass and all that stuff. And he was like picking them all up at different times, jamming his ass off.
Ed Sheeran.
Most people did not give a fuck. And the thing is, like, you know, I was there. You're not there for the musician. You know, you're there for the corporate event.
Sure.
And they hire a musician. It's like, it's so odd because they like want to put the spotlight on someone that has nothing to do with the business and has nothing to nothing to really advertise for them. And then they're just like, look, it kind of feels like, I don't know, a caricature or just like,
yeah,
you know,
like clowny.
Yeah. And like, maybe a purple suit and all that stuff is like a little goofy. And that is a way to grab attention, especially in a place like that. But at the same time, like, this dude's shredding. No one cares. I just hope it pays well. But like, it's such a weird thing.
That's the catch.
Yeah.
I think they do.
I would hope so. Yeah.
I think like corporate gigs are solid, but they suck. And so, what do? You know what I mean? Do you get the money? Do you not? And that's where, I mean, this whole concept of, well, if you're doing music full time and you haven't made it,
yeah,
then you gotta fucking take the shitty corporate gigs.
Mm-hmm.
Because how else are you gonna eat? But if you don't, and you're also working a 9 to 5, then I guess you're a little bit more open to choosing. And because I kind of want to tie it back to that because I don't know, man. It's such a struggle, just straight up, like doing music or any, I think, sort of art form during the come up. And And what sucks is that you always see the finished product. You know what I mean? I feel like growing up and what you're motivated by is always the rock stars or the famous painters or the biggest or most famous model at the time. But nobody is seeing that come up. It's not talked about enough in how, I don't know, man, like I think there's a lot that you have to sacrifice or the people. I mean, I know so many musicians that have been trying the same way that I've been trying for years. And it just doesn't feel like the needle has moved an inch. And so in my journey, I think that has to be the most frustrating part, I think.
Yeah.
What is the most frustrating part for you? Because having conversations with you, it always seems like you're doing this for the love of the game. I mean, it's like you love playing guitar so much. I mean, you brought it here, right?
Yeah.
And that just seems to be like your plus one. You know,
it is. Yeah.
You just love the instrument so much that you just do it for the art, whether that means, you know, making a career out of it or not. You're gonna do it regardless.
Yeah.
Do you not also have that pressure of, am I ever gonna make music, or am I ever gonna be making money out of this, or am I ever gonna have a career doing this? Because I do every day.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I have a separate dream when it comes to music. You know, my dream and my passion behind it is merely sharing it with the world, whether it be just showing what I play, you know, bringing a new idea to someone, teaching someone how to play the instrument, expanding. I really just want to expand people's minds with music in a way. I think the ideal way to do that would be to be a really big musician, you know. But, you know, I don't really feel the pressure to to become really big. I think that sounds awesome, but also, you know, everything has its downsides, and I imagine the more difficult or the bigger you get, like the more downsides there are.
Sure.
Like, you know, if you blow up, people that you thought you knew maybe are like, you know, expecting handouts from you now because they knew you or supported you maybe when you were little, you know, like, I mean, and some people probably do deserve that, but also it's kind of like, you know, I feel like it becomes a much more complicated subject when you do become famous. Not that I would know, but
dude, you had a number one with Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah,
you went neck to neck.
Yeah, we were this close.
Well,
and she just blew me out the water, I guess.
Well, to that point, what is making it? You know, what is being big? Because I think that's part of they're not being a blueprint. They're not being sort of mentors in society that you can talk about, that have already walked the path, that have already lived successfully off of music or of art or whatever the case may be, filmmaking, things like that. What is, you know, it's always so black and white, and you know, I feel like with most people that you talk about this, it's either you are a deadbeat, you know, playing in a cover band, and you definitely need a job, or you're glorified as a very famous person. But there is so much room in between to be able to live.
Yeah.
And like, comfortably, successfully. Like, there's so many musicians that play all over the world that I you can kind of get an idea that they live pretty comfortably, and
Right.
nobody knows them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that they know you for those 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, but that hour on stage, and then that same night you're at a bar nearby, and if you're lucky, they'll recognize, right?
Yeah.
That to me is the ideal.
Okay, we're on the same page then.
Yeah, man. Like that is the ideal. You made it. It's
Yeah.
I can make money off of this shit, right? And I don't have to change my lifestyle. And if I do, it's by choice. Like if
Yeah.
I want to, but that's just with anything. It's like it's more on things that you buy, right? Maybe I'll buy a more expensive car or a bigger house or whatever. And that lifestyle change is fine, but it's by choice. I'm not being forced to live in a more expensive neighborhood because people will just break my windows to get in my house, right? So, but like that, I don't know, man. That mainstream level, I think that's a fucking nightmare.
It does sound scary. It does. I don't like the idea of that many people knowing who I am. I'm just like, it feels like it makes you a target in a way.
Dude, I can't even have an open window without me feeling exposed. Like, I can't imagine what it would be like, having notoriety and then actually having something to worry about. Because right now, I don't have shit to worry about. You know what I mean? I could keep my windows open all night and nobody's going to want to look inside. If they do, then, like, it's, it might be one creeper or something.
Yeah.
Looking at this.
I mean, obviously.
Why would they not?
Yeah, for real.
But I don't know, man. Like, it's not something that sounds appealing. And I don't know. It's tough because anybody hearing that could be like, you're just saying that because you're not gonna make it.
Well,
so you're just saying that you don't like it. It's like, having $1 million, dude, I would hate that.
What I want to know is like what frustrates you about that? So like you're saying, it's frustrating trying to kind of blow up or like, make that kind of progress. But I guess I want to know, like, why does it feel that way? Like,
why?
Yeah. Do you feel like that's just kind of your goal, or like that's like your main purpose, or?
Sure. Yeah. That's it. I mean, I think I've put so many things on pause with everything around my life to be able to dedicate my mental towards just making music, that it's starting to get frustrating that it may not feel like I'm really reaping any benefits from all that time spent, all the real estate that it's taken in my head. And then I have to stop myself and think, like, yeah, but dude, for as much as I think about it every day, my output, my creative output is not nearly enough to compare to the time that I spend thinking about it. But if I could even spend 25% of the time that I spend thinking about it actually creating, dude, I would do so much more. But I don't, so I'm just like locked in my own self.
Yeah.
Trying to think about what the next step should be, or being overly critical too, because I make a lot of music, but I'm like, not good enough. Not good enough.
Do you feel like if you don't make it to a certain point, you've kind of like wasted your time?
I don't think about it as wasting my time, but I do think about it as like time got the best of me. Like it doesn't feel like time wasted, but if I don't do more, then I definitely feel like it's just gonna get farther and farther away.
Yeah.
So part of doing this, um, like full disclosure, and just because it's literally the whole point of it, is because I want to network more.
Yeah.
And I think that there are so many people that I think are in this local scene, but everybody is just so disconnected. I mean, dude, you play in 7 bands. Like, and every time you play in a band, you play with other bands. You would think that, dude, you'd have your finger on the pulse of what's happening, right?
Yeah.
But I know that's not the case. I mean, because I'm your friend and I have conversation with you, but
Yeah.
everything is just so spread out that I think that there needs to be some sort of glue. And even if it's just within my network, my close group, I want to be able to help serve as that glue, because the scene right now just feels very cliquey in Austin. And for it being the live musical capital of the world, it doesn't feel that way to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's shows everywhere, but none of it feels like it has meaning. Like, people are just gigging just for the sake of saying, I'm gigging. But where is this leading? How is this progressing? Like, the city itself, it just feels stuck. You know, in my opinion, like, there's just no progress. Like, I'm not excited about anything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
That's like getting momentum for me to be like, oh, this band is doing really well. This group is doing really well. I don't know. It just, it feels like it's plateaued.
Yeah. No, I feel that too. Yeah, it just kind of feels like it's a constant cycle of the same thing. Which sucks. Like, there's tons of brilliant musicians out there. Like you said, you think like playing in 7 bands, I would know a bit more, but I mean, and maybe part of that's also my fault for not doing enough networking, but I also live far, and I just don't want to do that because I want to go home.
Sure.
Because I work a 9 to 5. So
that, like, full circle. You know what I mean? And I get it. I thought that when I moved to Austin, it was just fucking game over, dude. I was gonna be doing so much. I was gonna be talking to so many people.
Yeah.
I was going to be meeting everybody, but it's just not realistic. And so it's taken a year to just sort of slap myself in the face with the reality of, oh shit, like, that it's
Bless
not, you. Thank you. That's not feasible.
Yeah.
When you're working a 9 to 5. So I know that, I mean, for the longest time, it just felt like me, because, to be honest, I think it is a common trend that the people that have 9 to 5s and play music can't really be sticking around for too long.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is if I have a PSA or anything to say to Austin venues, like, we don't want to do 12 o'clock shows on a Monday through Thursday. Maybe a Friday, but 12 is still kind of late. I feel like even for young folk, they don't want to be out there at like 12 watching, unless it's someone that you really want to go see, you know. I feel like it doesn't do a good service for the local bands.
And I think it's a different, there's just a different vibe out there now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, just looking, I mean, I don't know, I fucking watch YouTube videos of bands all the time, and you hear people talk about what the scenes were like. People genuinely enjoyed staying out late, and it was fun, you know what I mean, and just rallying. I feel like people don't really value that anymore. Like, it is more young people that I hear talk, I say young people, like, I'm not part of that, but it's just even the people my age, the people slightly younger, they want to go home and sleep early. which it's so surprising because you would think that people just want to just party, stay at shows.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it seem like it's dead. Like anytime I'm downtown, like people aren't really like.
There's no like spirit of adventure or anything
No.
anymore.
No.
I mean, maybe that's a product of a like. Yeah, you're in the younger folk. I'm slightly older, and maybe that's just part of also me getting older. But I do remember that little spark and stuff, and that was like a few years ago, and then right after COVID, things felt pretty good because everyone was like super hyped to get back out. It
But
kind
then
of died down after that, and I don't know if that like messed up my expectations or what, but I
don't
mean,
know, man.
I agree. It's like it's hard to find something that's like exciting. To be fair, even if there's only like 2 bands I would maybe go willingly see that like are big bands, you know. I really just don't like being in a crowd. Maybe I'm claustrophobic or something, I don't know. But I mean,
I think that's part of it too. I think it's just growing up and like I don't know. I used to love being at shows, and now I very rarely go to them.
you know, I mean maybe I'm wrong. I've been thinking about social media quite a bit, like with music while we were talking about this stuff, and maybe there's just not many personalities out there, you know. Like when I see I talked to someone about this, and I was just like, they were talking about advertising their music and stuff, and like how to get people to care, and I'm like, I feel like oftentimes when I find out someone is a musician, it's through an external means where they're just like doing something silly online, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I have a Spotify, or like, by the way, I'm like really good at this thing. I'm like, okay, I kind of freak with that because I got a bit of your personality in there. I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like there's like a weird social media thing that like, you know, maybe you have to start getting followers to.
That fucks with me
Yeah.
because I don't like making TikToks and doing this whole thing, and I feel like a lot of people can relate that just want to do music.
Yeah.
I had to sit down with myself and say, okay, you have to do something, because I put music out, and for much work that I put into it, I say, hey, the song is released, and then after that, I do nothing else. And it's such a crime because I spent so much time working on it, and then I'm not even pushing it just because I don't know how. So I said, okay, what are you going to do? This was the answer.
Yeah.
And so doing this, I think, is going to help me somewhat stay active, meet people, and honestly just to some degree create or expose somewhat of a blueprint for the people like my brother who's 17 and he's trying to potentially do music in the future.
Yeah.
Know that there's somewhat of a struggle ahead, that it's not every musician's journey is not like the Dave Grohl journey, to where before he was even 18 he was already fucking just touring everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. Just
for the most part, this shit sucks.
Yes. And so, and that's not to be all Debbie Downer about it, but it's just being realistic so that you know what to expect. I mean, you expect the good and you expect the bad, and go from there. But one last thing, because you mentioned the social media, and I had this on my notes. I laugh my ass off when you post the Instagram posts on your stories.
Yeah.
Of the filter in your face.
Oh yeah.
And you change your accent.
Yeah, I do like that Euro guy.
Where the fuck did that come from?
It's an impression. There's this guy, Brian Jordan Alvarez, and he has this character called Student. There's also another similarly related TikTok video that came up. And it was like, oh, I need like 1 million billion beers. Similar accent, but yeah.
Like, hello, guys.
Hello, you guy. Yeah. No, if you can add the filter on there, that'd be crazy. Hello, you guy. Here today with no, I'm not gonna do it.
It's so
I'm not gonna do it. That's enough.
Man, it's so funny. Were you always like the funny guy in like your family or some shit? Or
I mean, I feel like my sister would call it annoying. My mom thinks I'm funny. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I wasn't like a super class clown or anything, but
it's just
family wise, yeah, sure.
It's just ballsy. Like you like doing stuff like that on social media with how judgy people can be.
Yeah, I mean, people enjoy you just doing what you want to do. I don't know. I'll just do that, and I end up getting like way more likes on my Instagram stories than usual. I'm just like, okay, cool,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Well.
Test. Okay.
I smacked that.
I thought it turned it off.
No. I smacked.
It kind of reset the volume, I think.
Well, it's the room volume.
Yeah.
Because I smacked that and smacked that.
All on the
and the
floor.
The game just dropped for the room mics, but I think these are fine.
Yeah.
You were talking about social media. How can we find you on social media?
At Grandpaw, the first A is a V.
Spell it out. Spell it out.
Yeah, GRVNDPAW. That is my social. It goes everywhere.
Sweet,
for the most part. Don't follow me on Twitter.
Why not?
Just don't.
All right. That's gonna make me want to follow you even faster. This is the Rock Bottom Cartel channel. You can follow it on Instagram. It'll be on there as Rock Bottom Cartel. You can follow me on social media as well as Decasa PR, DECASA PR. I think this has been a successful first pilot.
Yeah, it was fun, dude.
We should do it again.
Yeah, I agree.
Once we blow it up like Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, or like Grandpa's single Oceanside. Really, I don't listen to that anymore. I'm gonna delete all my music and start over.
That dude, I feel like every artist goes through that phase every 6 months. Everything sucks. That's how I feel about my music as well. As soon as it comes out, I hate it.
My solo's good on that song, but
yes,
aside from that, I'm like,
the music is great. Go listen to it if you fuck with. It made me think of lo-fi beats, Studying Girl.
Oh yeah. To
It's
be fair,
that vibe.
I hate lo-fi, but that is true.
It's the vibe.
This is true.
It's the vibe.
It is a little lo-fi.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you made it this far, if not, then nobody's fucking gonna know.
Then boo.
We'll do this again sometime.
Sweet.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm outside your door, watching